Hi. Today I just wanted to talk about the five hardest things I am going through as a mom right now to a 1 year old. So these are not really the five hardest things of being a mom um, at all. They are just the five hardest things of, living your day to day life with your baby at this point in time. Um, and again, I have a 1 year old and I am a first time mom. Okay, so I do have some notes. So the first thing, number one, is sleep. So for me, I don't think there's anything more frustrating than trying to put your baby to sleep and they just won't go down, right? You see, her, when I know that she's tired, is when she starts touching her eyes. I know for sure she's tired. And I also monitor her wake windows. And so when I put her to sleep and I'm like, oh, she's gonna fall asleep so quick. I mean, look at her, she's so tired. And then we go to the room and she just won't go down. She sleeps with a pacifier. She gets it and she just throws it on the floor, and it's just like, oh my god. And I'm like taking deep breaths and talking to myself, like she's gonna fall asleep any second. But to me, really, it's very frustrating. That's why this is number one, because there's nothing more frustrating than for me with my baby on a day-to-day basis than trying to put her to sleep and she just won't. And you keep trying, and I don't think you should try for long, and I don't, because if I do, I think I would go crazy. But I try for like maybe 10, 15 minutes, because also it's hard to stop, right? Because they tell you don't try for like a long period of time, because if they are just not having it, it's going to be worse. So then I don't try for that long either. But then also it's like, oh, like you don't want to stop, because you're like, maybe we're like 30 seconds away from her falling asleep, because sometimes you just don't think it's going to happen, and then all of a sudden she's asleep and you're like, oh my god. Thank god I didn't stop. So sleep is hard. The napping, putting her down for naps is harder for me than putting her down for bed at night. At night, bedtime is not that hard at all, actually. It's just mostly the naps that I find difficult. What's also difficult about sleep is the wake ups, because I think I have a baby that sleeps better than most, thankfully, and I'm so blessed, because I think sleep makes such a big difference. Like if your baby doesn't sleep well, you're not sleeping well, and then the next day you're not your best. At least that's what I think. And I've noticed it, because she didn't always sleep through the night, of course not. But when she started, my life uh, changed for the better. Um, I just have to say that, like, she's a good sleeper for the most part. She is. She sleeps through the night. She pretty much wakes up because her pacifier fell off her mouth, and she just wants it back and she can find it or whatever. But usually she sleeps through the night. I'm so blessed. Um, but sometimes she does wake up, and those wake ups are hard when you have to put her to sleep again, because you yourself are so tired. So the patience that maybe I would have during the day, it's really not there as much at night, right? At 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, or whenever she wakes up. So that's wakes ups are hard too. What I try to do is I sit with her in a rocking chair and I have headphones, and actually that helps a lot, because with her it's funny, like she won't move that much, so I could put her to sleep on top of me and she would just like position herself face up and like fall asleep, but she just wants to be held while she's falling asleep. And so you're just there like waiting for her to fall asleep and you're tired. But what I found is that headphones, I put a podcast on or something, and that really helps me. But okay, so that's number one, sleep, especially during naps, and especially when you are so sure that they are going to fall asleep in like a minute, and then it takes very long, or sometimes it just doesn't happen, because sometimes it doesn't happen often, but it's happened where she skips a nap, and then you're just like, well, Now what do I do with the rest of the day? At what time do I feed you? At what time is the other nap? Um, okay, so that's number one. Number two, diaper changes. Oh my God. Wow. And I know that not everyone goes through this because I asked my friends and some go through like a version of it, but my baby, oh, and she doesn't actually do this with either my husband or the nanny, which we are the three people that are mostly with her. When I put her down to change her diaper, she just won't have it. It's not like she cries because she doesn't. She just won't stay still. So she moves every which way she can. She's trying to escape from me. She wants to go play. So it's impossible to put the diaper on. Impossible. Like I have to kind of like finish putting it on as she's standing because she just won't stay laying down. Um, and that's hard. That's hard because sometimes I see her diaper and it's like not perfectly placed in her little body, but I try my best and it's staying that way. I actually bought the pull-up diapers because I heard that that could help the situation because it's very frustrating for me. And that was not a good idea for my baby because she ended up pooping and there was no way I was gonna get that diaper off of her without making like a big mess. So at the end, what I had to do was cut them. I called my husband. He came with scissors, and we had to cut the diapers off of her because it just wasn't working. But anyways, okay. So that's number two. The diaper changes. She moves too much and gets very upset. Put it on my notes. Number three, bath time. Oh my god. So how I give her a bath is we have a little bathtub, like a baby bathtub, that I put inside our bathtub. Excuse me. And she's just sitting there. She has her little toys. Trying to give her a bath, and she will. Oh well, it's kind of reminds me of like diaper changing. She just the position that I want her to be in. She just doesn't want to be sitting down, which is how I want her to be, so that I can give her a bath. She stands up and she like wants to touch the everything around her instead of just like sitting nicely in her bathtub so I can give her a bath, you know. And what has happened before is she has fallen. She slips because of course it's wet. She slips. She hit her head one time, and that's what I'm afraid of, that she's gonna fall again and hit herself, really hurt herself. Thankfully, she hasn't really hurt herself, but the time she did cry, the time that she slipped and hit her head, and I don't want that to happen again. And so now I'm very like careful. I tell her, it's please sit down, please sit down. Um, but of course, sometimes she doesn't care what I'm saying. She just wants to do her own thing, which makes sense. She's a baby, but that is another frustrating thing. Um, Out of her routine, number three on the list, this is the third hardest thing for me, giving her a bath because I'm just scared the whole time that she's going to hurt herself. Now, um, number four is pretty much the fact that I cannot do much of anything, um, because if I'm not entertaining her, she is complaining the whole time. So, for example, this morning I put her in her chair, the high chair. She has toys, she has a teether, um, and I'm trying to cook chicken and eggs in the crock pot. I'm trying to like assemble the whole thing like a meal for her so that she could have for lunch. And she's complaining the whole time. She's grunting, she's fussing, and I take care of her. I talk to her, I show her what I'm doing. I'm washing the potatoes, I'm cutting the potatoes, I'm peeling the potatoes, just to make it better. And but she's just complaining the whole time. So then um, it makes me feel like I have to hurry, and it just gives me anxiety because I feel like I have to rush. I have to rush. She's gonna cry, and it's another thing that is hard. that's hard for me. So that's number four. And then number five is a combination of, going out with her, and long drives, which is kind of like the same thing. Like if you're going out, the drives are not always long, but if they are, I mean, that just makes it even worse because then you have to, entertain her the whole time. Um, and then going out anywhere with her, this is like a me thing. Like I get anxious that this was like a big fear of mine. I really didn't go out with her much until recently. She's one now. Not recently. Maybe, I don't know, maybe until she was maybe like at around 9 months is really when I started going out, just the two of us. Um, because I was so afraid of going out with her stroller and, taking the time that it takes to get the stroller out, to assemble it, to get her out of the car seat, put her in the stroller, get all the stuff. And all the time, I always had like a fear that someone was gonna like kidnap her or something. I don't know. So I was always afraid of that. So going out with her, it took me a while. And now that we're doing it, I like doing it because I like being with her. I like going out with her. But um but it's still hard. Still hard the drives when it's just me and her and I have to, drive and keep us safe, driving, but then she's in the back complaining. And I give her toys and then when we get to the place and then I put her in her stroller or in the shopping cart and then she's trying to bite everything because she's teething really bad right now. So she tries to bite on everything, even the cart itself, which is kind of gross. I always have a cover in the cart, the shopping cart, because she tries to bite everything. Um, but that's number five of one of the hardest things. Let me see if there's something I forgot that I wanted to talk about. Fear of getting kidnapped. That was a big one. That was a big one. And no one that I share this fear with um, has had it also. And I wonder if it's not like a common one because apparently it's not in my group. Um, and oh, actually, what something that I wanted to say about the long drives is that the driving with her at night is also hard because when the car is dark, she gets even fussier. I've noticed she gets more mad because she gets more tired. She wants to sleep. And what we actually did, which is nothing revolutionary, but for me it was, is I got a night lamp for the car, and we've only used it once, but she loved it, and you know, it just made it so much better. It just made it so much better. I mean, yeah, you can turn the light from the car on, but um, it's like a different thing. I don't know. I really like the night lamp that we got, and that helped a lot. But yeah, drives, especially at night when she cannot fall asleep, are hard. Oh, and something else about drives is if they have to nap. Sometimes you have to go somewhere, and it's during their nap time, and it's so hard for her to fall asleep if we're driving. I have to like sing to her, give her her pacifier, touch her in her face in a specific way until she falls asleep. And sometimes it just doesn't happen at all. But that's that. So those are the five hardest things that I'm going through right now. They're just, they're dumb things, and I know that they are pretty much because I feel like sometimes as moms you wanna control the situation, kind of like when I'm changing her diaper or giving her a bath, I want her to be still. But I know that she's a baby. I know that she wants to move. I know that especially now that she's starting to walk and she crawls all over the place. She wants to do her own thing, so I understand it. And even though this kind of sounds like I'm complaining um, about my baby, I'm not at all. I'm kind of just like venting because, of course, there are hard things, and I feel like it's good to talk about them and share them because I know that I'm not the only one going through them. But I just want to say that I am so blessed because I actually have an amazing baby. And even if she gives me a hard time, throughout the day with all of these things and maybe others that I can't even remember. She brings me so much joy, and that's what I remember and try to tell myself when I'm going through a hard time. Um, that I'm just so blessed to have her because I really, really am. And, not really complaining, just venting and venting, always knowing how blessed I am to have her, um, and how happy I am to have her. And even if the days are hard, because days are hard, sometimes some are harder than others. Oh my God, I just remembered today for the first time ever, as I was giving her a bath, she pooped in the bath. In her little bathtub that had never happened to me before. I was by myself and I had to get her out, clean her booty, get her dressed, clean the bathtub, and I'm all by myself. And so it was like a it's funny because I forgot that that happened today for the first time ever. Um, wow. But yeah, so those those are the five things that are tough for me right now, and I know, and I'm hopeful, and that this these things will get better because everything changes. If I had done this video 6 months ago or even 2 months ago, things would probably been this list would have probably been different. And so I'm hopeful then that in 2 months from now, these things have resolved or getting a lot better, and I don't have new things to complain about. But I mean, who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? There will be. Alrighty. Well, bye, guys.